Chicken jockey.
Flint and steel.
Foot of steel. That is an ender pearl.
Release.
Water bucket release.
That's the best one. And on that note, welcome to Beyond the Screen. Your film news. We talking about Avengers Doomsday, massive reveal. Sundance is leaving Utah, and Coyote versus Acme is officially saved. What a great day to be alive. All that and so much more on this episode of Beyond the Screen. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Beyond the Screen. I'm so happy after my rant last week about, hey, maybe Minecraft is funny and good, like in a bad way, or like it's bad that it's good and it's fun to watch, and you start the next episode with us quoting. I waited for Jake to start quoting Minecraft before telling him I was recording.
I was making fun of it. He was hyping it up. Two different. I say the quotes differently than he does.
But you know, no, I understand. That's why I quoted
the
though.
intent behind my quote is malicious.
But it looks fun. Like, it looks funny. It looks so bad that it looks good. Just, you cannot tell me Jack Black falling upside down going, water bucket release, isn't one of the funniest things you've seen in like 6 months. At least. Come on.
Dude, I don't know. Maybe like last week, but
Oh, okay.
I'm on to new things. I'm on to new things.
TikTok brain is what that is. He says, I'm scrolled. I'm gone.
Dude, you're lucky I'm not on a day or at least 2 hour, reset here.
Anyway, speaking of day, how was your day, Jake? How have you been? Welcome to be on the screen again, by the way. Jake, tell me about yourself. What's going on?
What is going on? I'm looking into vintage motorcycles. I'm like burning white hot. I'm on one of those like the trends where I ride that bell curve and I'm right at the top. I'm like, heck yeah, I'm gonna get one. I live in an apartment, I have nowhere to put it. I want an old one, I want to build it myself. Do you see the problem?
Yeah.
there, there are a multitude of problems and none of them scare me, and then I'm gonna fall off that top of the
Yeah. It's
and
one
I'll
of
be
those.
like, man,
It's
what was I
that thing
thinking?
where in the moment you're like, there's no bad ideas in this. And you're talking about riding a
No.
motorcycle to and from work. Like, what could go wrong?
Never riding anything motorized two wheel in my life.
No-
Understanding, I know shifting, like I understand the concept of a clutch. I've pressed buttons on a four-wheeler to shift, no clutch. I've driven tractors with clutch, but I haven't ridden a bicycle in years. So, like, obvious, there's a level of like I have comprehension. I have the level of comprehension needed to learn,
Right.
but I have zero foundation skills.
And you know what they
So-
say, nothing bad's ever happened to a guy who's ridden a motorcycle.
Right. So it's only a matter of time.
Until what? You get a bike or you fall off the bell curve? Because I think
Dude. Well, I foresee I'll ride that bell curve several more times
Mhm.
until I actually find one and I'm like, holy crap. And
Ye-
I'll do it, and then it'll just be like I live on the first floor right now, but I might live on the third floor, later. I don't know. Who knows what the apartment journey will be like, but there might just be a bike behind me one episode
Yeah.
randomly.
It's just in your house.
Wherever I end up, like just keep an eye out because I'll probably do it just because I said it for the meme. Is you'll see it back behind me, and it's just gonna be this old ass, just ugly bike.
Hold on, Jake.
sitting-
You cut out on me. I'm not for sure where your audio went, but I lost you there for a second. But speaking
lost
of
me?
bell curves, I'll save us here for a second. But for the meme, I can just imagine. I'm sure you can still hear me. For those of us watching at home, I'm saving the recording right now. For those of you listening, we're talking about the bell curve. Speaking of bell curve on my end, I was on a high bell curve about a month ago about buying a new car, and I was in the lowest of lows about buying a new car until today when I thought my car was just out of alignment and I went to go get it checked out, and it turns out it could be totaled. 3.5 years ago, almost 4 years ago, I hit a pole. So you might be wondering why I just stopped in the middle of what I was saying and now I'm saying something completely different. That's because we experienced tech difficulties and we are now back into our regularly scheduled programming. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Beyond the Screen.
So as I was saying,
Yeah.
anyway, there's gonna be a bike behind me one of these days. One of these days. Now, Ryan was talking about something about being on a bell curve, and he can finish off his thought there.
Yeah, now I'm back at the top of the bell curve because my car broke for something that happened 3.5 years ago.
Well, that's what you get, man. That's what you get for defacing campus property
Yeah, that's what I
with
did.
your
I
crappy
I
Toyota.
backed into a pole that I thought just dented the side of my car. Like I didn't hit it, like I hit it decently hard, but it wasn't like hard. You know, it was like, oh man, that's spooky. What happened? Oh, like it wasn't like it ripped anything. There was no damage anywhere other than just paint on the side of my car and a dent. And I was like, oh, fine. Well, turns out that it messed up one of my axles in the back of the car, and it messed up the rest of the alignment. So, and the piece that they now have to replace isn't made by the manufacturer anymore. So, if he can't find a scrapyard version of it, it just is going to get totaled. So now I'm in the market for a new to me car. So, fun stuff.
Fun stuff.
Anyway,
Well, at least you have a job.
yeah, I couldn't be jobless again, and that's great. I have one. They can pay for my car. Hey, university staff.
Yeah, ask him. Ask him if you. I'll drive around a wrapped EKU vehicle.
Yeah.
I'll be free advertising.
Yeah. Anyway, after those shenanigans, we're gonna finally hop into what is the episode after 8 long minutes of discussing in technical difficulties my car, Jake's Jake's motorcycle, and so on and so forth.
It's an
All right.
obsession.
Hopping into it, segment one, as always, is box office numbers. Number one this week is A Working Man, which made a total of 15.2 million domestic. It only opened domestically this past weekend, so maybe next weekend we'll see what happens in abroad theaters. This film is from Amazon MGM. Actually, I lied. I'm sorry. I was thinking of another film. It did earn 15 million internationally, so globally it earned 30.2. Excuse me, my apologies. 15.2 domestically, 15 internationally, and that 15 number is still a estimated number until inevitably in the middle of our episode, Box Office Mojo decides to refresh and update and then change my numbers. But right now, internationally, A Working Man has made 15 million flat. So for that film, the IMDb synopsis is, quote, Levon Wade left his profession behind to work construction and be a good dad to his daughter. But when when a local girl vanishes, he's asked to return to the skills that made him a mythic figure in the shadowy world of counterterrorism, which is not where I would imagine that sentence to go. And it's just the most Jason Statham, Liam Neeson type of film ever. It's just, he must return. His daughter is gone. And it's just,
Is this before or after he was a beekeeper?
this is after, but this isn't the same character.
Are you sure it's not the same character?
I really don't think it is. It is the same director. And
Didn't this guy used to drive a car around and
yeah, right, yeah.
shoot people too?
No,
Didn't he have like a woman in his trunk for a while?
Levon
Didn't
Cade.
he transport stuff?
Hold on, we got to figure out. Yeah. Who actually I love these character names because it's like they're always the most basic just name, like they're just insert name, but no one's gonna remember the name. They're just gonna remember Jason Statham. What is it's just it. There is no A Man's Brutal Campaign. The name is Adam Clay. The beekeeper's name is Adam Clay. Here's Levon Cade. Just Jason Statham. Just call him Jason.
There were 3 transporter movies, which is basically what all of these movies are. Is they're just transporter movies. Oh, dude, he was also a mechanic.
Dude, a beekeeper, a mechanic, a construction
working
worker.
man. No,
a
working man.
Sorry, blue collar. That when I was reading this, everyone was making a big deal about the fact this is a blue collar film and it beat Disney.
Well, to be fair, the beekeeper. I have guys at work that are like, dude, the beekeeper was awesome. I mean, these are like 52-year-old men.
Dude, I will say this about Beekeeper is that it has a lot more room for story outside of Jason Statham than most of his other films. Like the Beekeeper, the enterprise of like assassins and whatever, that was cool. It was interesting.
You're talking about the universe.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Set in.
The universe was cool.
I get another coworker that's like, no, there was absolutely zero story there. I could not Like there
There
was nothing. It
was.
was just a vengeance, eye for eye. That was all it was.
I I will say that like the way the story got started in Beekeeper, this is not a Beekeeper review, by the way. This is just I haven't seen a Working Man, which again, yes, he's a construction worker, but that doesn't mean this is a blue collar film. This is David Ayers and Jason Statham just killing people. Like that's this movie. So chill out on the narratives on that. One, two, back to Beekeeper. The way the film starts is just Jason Statham retired from the Assassin's Enterprise or whatever it was called, being a real life beekeeper when all of a sudden the nice lady that he's with just dies. And he's like, she kills herself. Sorry. She was scammed
Yeah.
out of all her money. And so she shoots herself. And Jason Statham's like, no one scams my grandma. And then it's like, and that's how the whole thing starts. And then the story that surrounds Jason Statham is interesting because they're all like, oh my God, the beekeeper's back. And like, it's cool because like there's so much room for interpretation and growth in the beekeepers themselves because there's like the depth of the history of it because it was supposed to be something for the government. This is like an individual that is hired by like the government to work outside of the government to keep society safe. Like essentially like think of what the CIA was like originally meant for, but if it was one person. And so it was like that's like the idea of the beekeepers. And so it's like you see retired Jason Statham fight other beekeepers and he wins, but it's like there's a lot to be had there, right? Outside of Jason Statham. I don't know if this has that because it just I will say the trailer had one of the cringiest lines ever. And this is a David Ayers film, which David Ayer did Beekeepers. We're talking about in Suicide Squad, the original with Will Smith, that people absolutely I was going to say adored, but that was going to be sarcastic. They hated it. But David Ayers is he's genuinely a good action director. However, in the trailer, the girl, I guess it's his daughter who he saves, and I could have sworn it wasn't his daughter. I thought it was the daughter of the people he worked for.
Yeah, it's the daughter of the boss. I thought
But
that gave him a job after he was.
what you're
Is that
reading,
wrong?
yeah, when a local girl vanishes, he's asked, I don't know, I guess I didn't see his daughter in the trailer, but it's his boss's, who's played by Michael Pena. His boss's daughter gets kidnapped, and his boss is like, Jason, will you please go kill people and get my daughter back? And Jason Statham's like, yeah. It's like, it's so. Anyway,
Well, maybe it's a love interest. Maybe the daughter of your boss is actually your love interest.
no, but she
and
was
you wanna
like
be a good
14.
was not
Yeah, she was a
really?
child. And well, this is why I'm saying that is because in the trailer, when he saves her, or like he's with her, she looks down and she goes, "Is that a grenade?" And he's like, "Yep." And he like throws it
Yep.
and it explodes. And she's like,
Yep.
this is like tone deaf script writing because she looks at Jason Statham and in as much seriousness as she can muster, she goes, "This is nothing like Minecraft or no, nothing like Fortnite." Sorry, not Minecraft. Nothing like Fortnite. And I just
No
remember,
way.
yes, I remember seeing that for the first time and was like, "Shut up!" like.
Dude.
Like it's just so tone deaf.
So
That line is only written by somebody who is above the age of 45. Like that's it. Like there is no one under the age of 45 that's writing like that.
so we've got was it Michael Pena?
Yeah.
Who plays in Louise in Ant-Man. So he's Joe Garcia, and I think Naomi Gonzalez, who plays Carla Garcia, is and then there's Jenny Garcia. I assume one of them is the mother.
Yeah.
Maybe, and then is it Isla Gee or Mary Cade? So that's Jason's Livon's daughter. I don't know, man. I think I don't know. I don't know what I think. I think this is a Jason Statham movie. Did you know The Mechanic got two? Got a resurgence. It got a number 2.
Yes.
So
I
forgot about that.
listen. I'm all for these action films because they're funny. Just to see the absurdity of trying to get them back. It's always the same. I'm retired. But grandma shot herself. I'm not retired. You know, it's just like it's so I don't know.
I'm looking through here, and I mean we are eating up a lot of time making fun of this, but every movie with Jason, it's like 6 out of 10 stars.
I know.
He rarely busts into the 7, but when I mean, I don't see any 8s.
So this film, to get back on
Besides
track
World
real
of
quick,
Tanks Holiday Ops short film.
the
That
film
an
was
8.
co-written by Ayers and Sylvester Stallone of all people, and is based off of the Chuck Dixon novel Levon's Trade. So I guess I guess there's some substance there. I don't know. We're making fun of it. We've never seen it, but it looks so typical. Like, and it's just I don't know. It's just I might watch it for the same reason I watched Beekeeper, because I was making fun of Beekeeper and I actually didn't mind Beekeeper. But Beekeeper, like I said, I don't think a working man has as much interesting universe story as a Beekeeper did, because Beekeeper was actually, again, you heard my synopsis of like the universe, and there was a lot. There was actually shockingly like a lot of depth in there. Anyway, moving on to number 2 on the last weekend's box office, Disney Snow White finishes its second weekend in theaters, having earned $14.2 million domestically and finishing second. The film has earned $66.8 domestically thus far and $76.3 million internationally, with a current global total of $143.1. While this number, with any other producer, any other distributor, any other filmmaker not named Disney, would be fine. 143 million is a lot. That's a lot of money. But for Disney, they still have over 200 million to make up for it, because they spent 370 million on production and marketing. So it's a terrible, terrible time for Disney. This is just so. How many weeks in a row do we have to talk about this to where it's just, let's throw 250, 400, 500 million and just never make money back? Like, people don't have palettes for that. Anyway, if things could not get worse for Disney, because I'm going to answer the question that I'm going to ask here in a second. I don't think it has the staying power as Mufasa. And Jake, I want you to answer that question yourself here in a second. Again, if things couldn't get worse, it dropped from it's a total of 66% of over 66% from its earnings last week to this week. Oh my, like that is an astronomical number.
It's I don't. Part of it's review bombing, I think, a little bit. Even though they might be rooted in truth if people did watch it, but I do think it's a review bomb, and not everybody went to go see it. But it is the worst rated movie ever, right, on IMDb. I think at least IMDb, but it's the worst rated movie ever with like hundreds of thousands of votes. So, is there a little bit of review bombing? Yeah, likely. Um, if that many people went and watched it, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So, um,
Chalk it up
I've
to the
seen,
controversies and the hate for Rachel Ziegler, which I still don't think is founded. I think she's gotten a lot of hate for being a outspoken woman, but that's neither
uh,
here nor there.
yeah, that you start getting into a little bit of the politics, because there's some people who just don't like the outspoken woman trope as either. So, um,
Now, I say that. Do I agree with everything she says? No, but it's like I think that the hate she
yeah,
gets is so blown out of proportion.
but that is like one of the main reasons people are review bombing is they don't like her. And there was even I saw one guy who was like, dude, do we just ruin this woman's career? And it's kind of like, yeah, most
Yeah.
of the comments were like, don't care, don't like her.
This is something we talked about last week, is that people who have seen it have said the only shining moment, or any shining moment in this film, is Ziegler and her portrayal of Snow White. And again, people just forget that she was in Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and she was fantastic. Like, she
Yeah,
was amazing in her last film. And I don't know, I think that a lot of this hate is just because she's outspoken, and that's detrimental. And I think the thing is that what that means is she'll probably fall to the indie distributor realm. And if she does that and gets like, say Sean Baker gets a hold of like a talent like Rachel Ziegler and produces another film, we're in for another Oscar nominee. Like, and that I'm more than excited about. So I guess if there's like a positive to be spun out of this whole thing, is that maybe this, you talk about review bombing, maybe this, like, I almost want to call it like reverse cancel culture, because it's like people usually attribute cancel culture to like the left, and I feel like this is more the right slash middle area that's doing the canceling. But once that happens, once this goes through and Disney inevitably is like, oh, just, and drops her and is like, I don't like you anymore. Like Andy with Woody, I don't want to play
yeah,
with you anymore. Like, she will then go to an audience and film crew and distributors who actually will appreciate her talents and arguably use them for better purposes, like worth telling stories. So that will be something I will be really interested to see in the future. That'll be a number of years away, probably like 2 or 3. But regardless, that's a positive spin. But you talked about the reviews. That worst reviewed film on IMDb, that is Snow White, 1.6 out of 10. I have never seen a film that low. We
I
talked about
thought
it.
it was lower.
We talked about it being at 2 last week, 2.1. It's 1.6 right now, and Jake's going to fact check it because it could have gotten lower in the last 3 hours. But the film also
It's
has a
1.5.
1.5, so it's dropped a percentage in
Yeah.
3 hours, which is ridiculous. It's got a 40% rating on Rotten Tomatoes and a 50% from Metacritic, which is probably about what it is. I would say that's probably more accurate, because audiences, as you said, are review bombing it. Um, I think that's probably about it on Snow White. We're gonna go ahead and move down the list here. One of the most surprising and intriguing entries into a top 5 list in terms of box office that we've covered yet. The Chosen Last Supper Part 1 wins third on the domestic box office this past week. So, from Fathom Events, which is the distributor, which they don't do a lot of big time distributions, I don't think. The Chosen One, The Last Supper is the story of Jesus Christ, and it is the final 3 episodes of season 5 of the show chronicling the biblical tale. Each of the episodes are released only to theaters, starting this last Friday. That goes again this Friday, April 4th, and next Friday, April 11th, for part 2 and 3 of, I think this is the season finale, or maybe even the series finale. In its first weekend, The Chosen earned $11.4 million, which is no small feat for a TV show, specifically a Christian TV show. That's wild to me. I mean, I don't know. I think I've heard of this. I've not really gone out of my way to watch The Chosen, but I don't know. It's just, Jake, what do you think about The Chosen Last Supper?
Heard of this. When I went on a little like a vineyard. Like there's a, I don't know, a trail like across northern Kentucky of vineyards, and one of them was like on a farm in like kind of a shack, and there was like a sweet old couple, and that was all that was in there. It was guy over in the corner watching TV, and the woman was at the bar cleaning something,
Yeah.
and that's that's what we ended up talking about. Is like they wanted to know about us. I said I'm into movies. She's like, "Oh, have you seen these with the series and they're coming out with them on in theaters?" And I was like, "That's odd. So do you like plan on going?" She's like, "Oh yeah, I'll be for all of them." She's got to go see these. I mean, obviously they're the finale, so
Yeah.
has to go see them. So she, I guess, went and went and watched them. So good for her. But like that's the audience is. Like there
I
you go.
I really, so the thing is I am so not opposed to a biblical tale on a large screen, because if you think about it, what stories are better suited for a big screen than those from the Bible, which are, I'm not to say you need to be like Christian audiences that are the only ones who should go watch it. If you haven't read the Bible, you probably like, it's just if for nothing else, it's just a fun read at times, just because it's kind of crazy, like the events that happen and so on and so forth. And hence, again, why I make the claim I think they're very well suited. And so I say that the last thing that I genuinely watched that was anything biblical, like represented on any screen, was the History Channel's like take on, you know what I'm talking about, like all those years ago, like a decade plus ago. And they weren't very accurate. As like I don't remember watching them in depth, but I remember being like a teenager being like, "Oh," and just everyone hated it. Everyone was like, "Ah, these aren't accurate." And now they're doing it again, which is like, I say that as a I am a Christian man. I wouldn't say like I go to church every Sunday, but like, I don't know. Maybe check it out. See what you think.
I
Mo-
will not be. I
Jake
don't
will
know
not be.
anything about the Bible.
I'm not. The thing is, I don't know if it's 5 seasons deep, so I can't. I don't want to say I'm going to go to the theaters.
So, are you saying I can watch this instead of reading the Bible? Nah, I'm kidding. Maybe get a part of it. Maybe.
I just think I would like to hear what the differences are, because I'm sure there's got to be some, right?
Oh, when you adapt something as
Yeah.
extensive as the Bible, I don't know, you're gonna run into some creative differences and how to
Jesus
make
can't
things
flip that
work on the
table.
screen. He can't. He can't. How are you gonna make the guy walk on water? I was about to say he can't walk on water. I was like, well, actually, he can, in fact, walk on water. But yeah, how do you pull that off? They do it. They do it
I
all the
mean,
time. Mirrors.
yeah, I was about to say, I don't know. Anyway, I think it's time to move off The Chosen. It's just an interesting addition, especially being top 3.
Yeah.
What a win for Fathom Events and for whoever
Which,
produced that, because I have no
to
idea.
to be fair, there's not a lot of other besides a working man.
Also,
But it is pretty good at 11 million. It's not
what
horrible.
film is going to just get the Christian audience to just run to theaters? Because I feel like that's like there are like 8 God's Not Dead films. Like there are like they don't make
No.
those without having some sort of return. So that audience is there. It's just they don't. I don't feel like they get represented a lot in theaters. So that's probably why. It's because this was one that they're like, it's that's us, and they just they showed up. Anyway, moving down the list, number 4, The Woman in the Yard from Universal Pictures. Its early year horror flick opens theaters 4th, as I just said, earning a 9.4 million in domestic theaters. The IMDb synopsis is, quote, a mysterious woman repeatedly appears in a family's front yard, often delivering chilling warnings and unsettling messages, leaving them to question her identity, motives, and the potential danger she might pose. Does that seem interesting to you?
Um, no. I mean, Woman in the Yard. Universal Pictures. I mean, it looks like a horror, is it not?
Yeah, I feel like the last one that they tried was Wolfman, and it also seemed a little underwhelming. I'm a horror guy, but there are certain looks of films that just don't seem intriguing to me because they feel like just copy and paste of the last one. Not to say the art isn't there, like it is. Like I haven't seen it, so I really do want to see it. But like it's also like I just I can't necessarily feel like I will not go into this with high hopes. The film was directed by Jama Colette Serra, who did The Shadows and The Commuter, and it stars Daniel Deadweiler, Russell Hornsby, Peyton Jackson, and so many more. Audience and critics kind of feel the same way I do, but they obviously have seen it, and they seem less than impressed with this latest installment into the horror genre by Universal. The flick has received a Rotten Tomato score of 43%, which is in fact rotten, and a less than ideal popcorn meter score, which is the audience reviews at 45%. IMDb has also pegged the film at a 5.3 out of 10, which is not bad, but it's not good. And Metacritic has it reviewed at a 49%. So Woman in the Yard kind of fallen short again. Another Universal horror film off to a bad start, really, just kind of putting it bluntly. And rounding out the top 5 is Death of a Unicorn from A24, starring Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega. The comedy horror film earned 5.7 million in domestic theaters, and is directed by Alex Sharfman, with an IMDb synopsis of, quote, father-daughter duo Elliot and Ridley hit a unicorn with their car and bring it to the wilderness retreat of a mega wealthy pharmaceutical CEO. Audiences don't seem to mind the original tale from A24, with a 56% on Rotten Tomato, a 6.5 out of 10 on IMDb, and a 7 out of 10 from Screen Rant, which I don't see a lot of Screen Rant reviews on here. So it's interesting to see Screen Rant on the review train for Death of a Unicorn. Seems like an interesting story to me. I'm kind of surprised that it flunked as hard as it did, and that actually is I hate to say it, but that's a trend for A24 lately. They don't seem to be doing as well in theaters as they had been in years past. Other notes, 4 of the top 5 from this past weekend are new to theaters. So the only one that retained from the previous week was Snow White, which is in its second weekend. So the biggest faller from this past week was Steven Soderbergh and Focus Features' Black Bag, dropping all the way from second place last week to 8th this week, this is its third week in theaters. So, Jake, with all that, biggest winner, biggest loser, overall thoughts about the box office this past week?
Um, well, I don't want to leave off number 6 either. Princess Mononoke with Studio Ghibli,
The re-release,
um,
right?
distributed by G Kids. Yeah, the 4K restoration. That's awesome. 3.8 million just straight up with 330 theaters. Just 330. It almost got 5th place from Death of a Unicorn. I mean, yes, it's off by 2 million, but like it had 100 times, or right, or 100, no, 10 times as many theaters. Sorry, 10 times as many
Yeah.
theaters, and it only missed out on 2 million. Yeah, that's crazy to me.
What
So
a week for Studio Ghibli, man! Like to have Princess Mononoke
yeah,
top 6 back in theaters, 4K restoration, but also if you've watched anything Instagram, anything TikTok, anything internet the last week, especially the Chat
yeah,
GPT rip off AI creation of the Ghibli's like overall aura and aesthetic.
art style. Yeah,
Yeah, that is Ghibli like don't do that. They were very not happy. So it's
Right.
cool to see. It's because you don't really see it a lot, and in fact, that's something we'll actually talk about later. Is AI and these studios fighting back, and I feel like Ghibli kind of was the one that gave confidence to like Paramount and Sony as well. Again, Warner Brothers, I think too, as we'll see later, against like AI fake trailers and AI fake imagery, like using their style. And so, nothing but W's for Ghibli, man. Good for
Yeah.
them.
There was a video game that recently put a trailer out that was all AI. I don't remember what it was. Some guy, I think it was Ark.
Oh no,
I
I
think Ark.
saw that. You're right. It was the
Yeah.
new Arc DLC or whatever.
Yeah, it was bad. It
Just
was really bad.
I don't understand the reluctancy to pay artists. Like I don't know.
Money. Bro, I don't understand why people don't like to spend money.
No, no, I get it though. But the thing
I
is
get it.
that
No,
at
I
the
yeah.
end of the day, because especially this is where I'm coming from with that, is that we live in an age where everyone is trying to cut corners, especially those with money. So big AAA developers, as like Ark's developer, I don't remember who it is, especially off the top of my head, but it isn't EA, is it? Anyway, the point is they're a big AAA developer. They've got a ton of money, and yes, they're trying to cut corners. But more and more AAA developers, more and more of these high-end like production companies are all doing the same thing. So when you do things that cost more money and have higher quality, you're going to get more of a return. So think about like Christopher Nolan. He still shoots on film reel. I don't even think
Yep.
he knows what AI is outside of the sci-fi context. You know what I mean?
I'm sure
Like
he does.
no, I know, but I'm being hyperbolic.
Yeah.
The point is that like the man he sees return on his investment because people appreciate the art he produces. So I wonder when will the trend reverse? It's like, oh, we spend all this money. Yes, you'll spend all that money and however much on artists, but also people will appreciate it and they'll actually go to theaters for it. Because I can promise you, whoever made it's Arc Evolve, right? Arc Evolved or whatever is the next one,
Something like
the
that.
next
Yeah.
DLC. Regardless, that definitely is going to impact their sales. Just
I don't
simple.
know. There's some diehard art guys out there that'll buy it regardless. But yeah, I don't oh, it's I mean it's a DLC. It's not like you're coming out with a whole new
I
game
think
that
it's
they
a
did a trailer
DLC.
that was I think so. I don't remember. But regardless, it was awful. It was god awful. I don't play Ark, but definitely didn't get me to want to play Ark.
Yeah.
Um, so from a marketing standpoint, uh, that failed to pull me in as a lead. So
Arc Survival Evolved is what it's called.
and I think it's like Wild Card Studio. Wild Card is the developer, but I don't know what else they do, and I don't know if they're considered AAA or what. But I don't know. Bad choice. I don't agree.
Yeah, terrible
Um,
choice.
I see things about the Penguin Lessons, which is at 11 this week. Just came out. Sony Pictures Classics. Do you know anything about that? I see some people
No.
talking about it, giving it reviews. Um, but other than that, that's pretty much it that came out. It's a slow weekend.
If you go
What do you
to
think?
the developer of Arc's page, Studio Wildcard, they literally only have they only have Arc.
Yeah.
So maybe they are a little bit smaller than I anticipated.
Double down, cash cow.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's a great point to move on and to jump from segment 1 into segment 2. So coming up next, major Avengers Doomsday news and drama surrounding the Sundance Film Festival. Hear about it after the break. Welcome back to Beyond the Screen. We're in segment 2, which is your major news. Usually I go through a giant it's like a 6 to 10 bullet point script, and it's usually me having read whatever however many sources and just kind of delving as quickly as I can the information so we can talk about it. This first one we're not going to go through that because I feel like everyone and their mom, their grandma even, has probably seen at least the still image of this trailer and knows what's going on in the slightest form. Avengers Doomsday dropped its first teaser because you can't even really call it a trailer. It's more like a teaser, a hype trailer almost, if you will. Hopping straight into the question, hopping straight into the discussion. What are we most excited for? Are we excited for this? What are our thoughts just from the hype trailer? What's going on, Jake?
Um, I'm not really excited. I think it's a lot of people. I think it. I think it actually hinders a movie more to have that many people. I mean, the budget alone is going to be massive. I mean, you want to talk about Snow White's budget? Let's talk about. I mean, how I don't even 3 columns of 9. So I mean, that's
Yeah.
you're getting up to that's 27 big names, and that's not even your full cast. I mean, you're gonna have B cast or like, I'm not sure what they're actually called, but like the guys who don't have names yet, or and 27 big names, and that might not even be all of them, right?
Oh no, that is not the end of their list. There's rumors of Chris Evans. I have a theory. So for me, I am most excited for the Fox X-Men return. I'm sure Hugh Jackman will be in there. You don't bring back as many people from the Fox universe as you do and not have Hugh Jackman in there. So I think that they're holding, like, we haven't seen Ryan Reynolds there yet. Didn't see Hugh Jackman. Um Halle Berry wasn't there either, which was obviously
Yeah,
Storm. So I think that there are a lot of people who are missing that will inevitably be involved. You know what's happening? They're going to reboot it.
I don't think so.
I think so. I think that this is how, because if you remember, Fantastic Four, the MCU's take on the Fantastic Four, they're in an entirely different timeline. They're in the
Yeah.
1950s, right? How is Doomsday going to be Robert Downey Jr.? How is the Fox universe going to make an appearance? You know,
Timeline, bro.
they're
Timeline.
going to use the way that I can put it. The only way I can put it is Tom Hiddleston as Loki is going to
Yeah.
show up and mess everything up somehow, or
Yeah.
be the catalyst for the whole thing. I mean, the story's written there. I genuinely believe that they're going to reboot loosely, right? They're going to bring in whoever they need to bring in, but they're going to officially retire a bunch of people. Like, they're going to say,
Yeah.
like, because the thing is Disney, they don't like to have loose ends. So they're bringing in Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, James Marsden. It will be Halle Berry. You know, it will be Hugh Jackman. I don't think Hugh Jackman will retire outright, not with this film anyway. But like, this is the beginning of the end, and the only reason that I don't think Hugh Jackman will get like replaced and retired in this moment is because, one, Hugh Jackman has said he'd come back and do some more after this next one, and two, it was proven in the last Deadpool movie that that is another Wolverine as is. Like, that's not the same Wolverine to begin with as the one from supposedly the universe that the Fox X-Men are coming from. So with the exception of Hugh, the rest of them are going to die. You know, like, I think that this is where they're going to say, okay, here's our one universe. This is how we exit the multiverse saga. We're going to kill it. They're going to do I mean, this is DC, but they're going to do like a Crisis on Infinite Earths type beat where a bunch of them die and they establish, okay, here's who's who. And we only follow this one. And the rest of them we don't know about anymore. And we don't care. We're not going to pay attention to it until it becomes convenient to pay attention to it again. And then,
Yeah, it's all actually gonna return to one timeline.
yes, I think
Like, yeah, something with Loki is gonna be like he's no longer the tree of timelines. It's now just one again.
yeah, they're gonna say, oh yeah, remember how Loki went through that entire 2 season saga of trying to save everything and how he's like,
Character development
yeah,
and whatnot.
no
Yeah.
longer. It's just
Nope.
they're just gonna get rid of it because Jonathan Majors got in trouble and that ruined their entire plans, and now they got to fix it. And so
Yep.
they're just gonna go through and do the whole thing. And so I think that's gonna be what happens. I can almost guarantee you is that you're gonna see a ton of death. And how many times did
Maybe
they
we
have to?
get to see Doctor Doom kill a bunch of people like we did Thanos.
How many
Wouldn't that
times
be
are we gonna have
cool?
to see Patrick Stewart die,
Well, yeah,
bruh?
yeah.
Like,
I can't wait to see more Magneto. Oh,
Ian
and Channing
McKellen,
Tatum somehow he weaseled his way into playing Gambit, and he's
he lived. I think he's gonna be a key player.
probably, yeah. I'm surprised that they brought him on, but I guess it would be. I'm not gonna say it would be wise. I'm gonna say it's like somebody saw that Gambit got memed, and we're like, we have to put him in there
Yeah,
now.
dude, we got to. And well,
Yeah,
apparently he'd been
right.
fighting for it for a really long time too. So it's like,
Right, right. And then everybody was like, "Oh, awesome, comic accurate Gambit." And then he got memed, and a lot of people went and watched it anyway. And so there's the fan base behind it, and I think Disney was just like, "Yeah, I guess we should put him in just because money."
yeah. I meant to
That's
do
how I feel the
this.
conversation went.
I meant to do this right before we started. Was if you haven't seen the trailer, it is literally just a camera, just it's on a gimbal or it's a crane, and it's just like just panning essentially, just being walked back, and you just see a bunch of like seats, like actor seats, or like what are those called, like director seats or whatever, with the names on the
Yeah.
back, and it's just the names of 27 A-listers, and at the end
Over
It's Robert Downey Jr. and he just goes, and then end. That's it. Like that.
over 5 hours of a live stream.
Yeah.
There were people who sat for 5 hours to watch a camera get pulled on a track
Yeah.
across 27 chairs.
It didn't go up, it didn't go down. There wasn't a rack focus, there wasn't a pull focus. It was just literally that. It was just a track. That was the easiest shot, and they probably made 500 million off it. You know, like they made a ton of money.
Especially if they were running ads.
Yeah, they made so much money. Like, so
5 hours. I mean, I don't know about so much money, but like it how many people do we know how many people watched? It had to be a few million,
oh
right?
yeah, I could probably look it up actually.
So from my experience, like looking at, I don't have experience, but like from what I know with like streamers, I know like the big ones like Queso and Kai Cenat and those guys are they're getting millions, close or if not close to a million, and they're making like easy $500,000
Yeah,
from ads alone. Not to count merch, not to count deals, brand deals, whatever. I'm talking about just ad revenue alone. And I know Queso signs off a lot of it because he has it set to the most the minimum of ads you can possibly have just because he doesn't want people bombarded with ads. Whereas there's others who will turn them on and you get like a minute, 3 minutes worth of ads every 15 minutes.
yeah,
It's crazy. And they're making bank.
yep,
So all that said, I don't know what YouTube is generally like, but to have several million people watching a live stream and then you run ads on it, because mind you, 27 people in 5 hours, you're staring at the same chair.
yeah. I
People
know.
walked away. Nobody viewed those ads. Like it's a waste of money from people who bought ad spots on lives, which is random. It's not like you could just, yes, I want my ad to be ran on Marvel's live stream. No, Sarah V and whomever else just pays for YouTube ads, and it's willy nilly. You don't get to choose whether or not you're on a Marvel one. But even if, I don't think it'd be a very good idea because people aren't. They turned it on, walked away.
Yeah.
I think,
Oh yeah.
or turned it off and came back.
But you know what's so talking about, like, back to the streamer stuff, it's 3 minutes of ads every 15 minutes. That is just cable television at that point. Like you're
Yeah,
just watching cable TV. And I used to time out 3 minutes every time when I was a kid to go to use the bathroom and make food so I would watch whatever I was watching, whether it was a movie or sports or something. So it's like it's
yeah.
crazy how how time is a
We're
circle.
back.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
Streaming services do the same thing,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every 15, 20 minutes, there's a minute or 1 to 3, maybe 5 minutes of even Netflix now.
Yeah.
But back to what we were saying, how much? So the now in production trailer is what it's called, or now in production. 8.5, almost 8.6 million views in 5 days.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say that they made a buttload of money. They made several thousand off of that if they were running ads.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it. It was like I want to know how many people like after maybe the second or third chair they were like, okay, all right,
Click off.
just yeah, like okay, this is what this is. All right,
They're waiting for like the explosion or the teaser, and they're just
dude.
more chairs.
Imagine being the journalist. Imagine being the person for your job. Oh man, Marvel's live, Marvel's live. They're doing a reveal. They're doing it, and then you have to sit there for the next 5 hours watching that. Now, I'm not going to say that they didn't turn away from their second monitor if they're so, lucky to have a second monitor working as a journalist, but um, if they're not just running their laptop. But yeah,
Oh,
I'm not going to say that they had to watch it straight up for 5 hours, but yeah,
dude,
what a life.
you work your entire life to work for the Hollywood Reporter, for Deadline,
Yep.
Variety, all of the big media ones. And that's your
And
job.
Marvel says, screw you,
Yeah.
screw you.
How about chairs?
How about stare at this for 5 hours? We don't care about your time. I don't remember, when was it? Do you know what time it was? Because
No,
if it was after hours, then dude, I'd be pissed.
I just remember like when it broke, I was like scrolling or I was doing something and it was like, oh, Patrick Stewart's back. Cool. And then it was immediately, oh, Ian McKellen's back. Cool. What is happening? Because then I just got a
Yeah.
flood of like 15 different actors reported. I was like, how? And so then I found the trailer about 10 minutes after it went live because I was so confused. Like, but yeah, I don't know. Not me. I literally I have a second monitor. I'm lucky enough to have this bad boy right there. And I would genuinely just over there, turn it
Yeah.
down. I'm doing something else. You know, like
Thing is, there were no, there was no audio really either.
I would have thought there was
Unless
music.
did they announce?
I don't know.
I would say not. I bet there were some names that people missed.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine coming back
So,
and only seeing like the end of it? Like you got the last three names. You like go to grab like a bite to eat or something. You come back after like watching it for 4 hours and 58 minutes. You come you come back and it's just at the end of the trailer. You're like, like you
uh,
just missed it.
you just see, yeah, and you just see RDJ
Yeah, that's all
mogging
you
you.
see. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
I would be livid. I could not tell you how angry I'd be. And I'm sorry, journalists who had to deal with that, because I'm sure someone had to have had it happen. Bound. Eight and a half
Sucks.
million people watched this trailer. One of them had to have like, I've been sitting here for almost 5 hours. I can go get a bite to eat for 30 minutes. And you come back and it's just exactly that. It's just
Over.
RDJ just
Yeah. Or it's completely over and you're like, oh,
yeah.
okay.
What I would have enjoyed too is at the end of that 5 hours, because it's a video and because they haven't refreshed it yet, it's still 5 hours. So you have to like find the timestamp and click back a little bit. What a life. Anyway, that's the end of our first big news piece in our second segment. So the second one, and here's your script now for those who missed me reading. Sundance Film Festival officially moves to Boulder, Colorado in 2027. Utah to start another film festival in response to the devastating news. So, after fielding offers for a new home for the better part of I think it was 1 year. I did write 2 years, but I think it was 1 year. The Sundance Film Festival again announced that, hey, we're booking it out of the I think it's called the Bumblebee State. Is Utah? Utah's known for their bees. We're leaving.
That was the Mormon state.
Well, that too. But we're leaving the
Known for their
land
Mormon.
of Mormons and bees and mountains and now hockey, and we're moving to Colorado, specifically Boulder, where weed is legal and it's insanely
That's
expensive
why.
to own a house. Yeah, that's why.
That's why. They moved
So
for the weed.
they moved for the weed. They left Utah and they go to Colorado. In response to this move, they're announcing their move now, but they will be there in Utah, I should say. They'll stay in Utah this year and next year, and then in 2027 and begin their new home, their venture into their new space. In response, Utah Governor Spencer Cox described an effort to allocate the stated allotted 3.5 million that was to be spent on the iconic festival and reallocate it to starting a new festival in Utah. So he's like, you know what? Screw you guys. We fought to raise this money, and now we're going to pull it and spend it on our own festival because you're leaving us. So Cox said, quote, let's reappropriate that money to efforts in Utah to create a new festival and a world-class film economy right here in our state. So obviously very politically driven. And I like to think he's so mad because to get 3.5 million from your state government is not an easy feat.
Right.
To get promised 12 million, as I'm about to say here, they had 3.5 million right now. They were saying here's going to be 12 million over a certain amount of time, an unspecified amount of time, another 12 on top of that 3.5, and then on top of incentives and what they called private entities. So a lot of money was going towards Utah from the Utah government into this film festival that was born there, 40 years in Utah, in fact. So you might be asking, well, why would they leave? Well, Colorado offering 34 million over a decade, along with the same types of incentives and private entities, would probably have been the reason why. So the thing that we know about the Colorado move is that it's over a decade. So that 35 or 34 million, along with other incentives, begins in 2027 and goes through 2037. So there is no number over what Utah was offering that 12 and a half or that 3.5 plus 12 plus incentives. Who knows? That could have been over the next couple of years, which would have been a good amount of what was offered. But on top of money, there are other reasons why the film festival probably would have left. So to finish off this point about Governor Cox and his anger towards the film festival leaving, he called it a mistake and said, quote, "In the meantime, we'll keep doing what we've always done, supporting filmmakers and building a world-class film economy right here in Utah." So again, that money was a big decision, but the other part of it was politics. Specifically, what was in the article we were sourcing for this, the Trump 2.0 era. Hey, first Trump mention on the podcast, by the way. Anyway, so in that era, that is a big reason as to why it left. So if you don't know anything about Sundance, it is currently housed in Park City, Utah, and the big push with trying to keep it in the state was that it was going to get moved to Salt Lake City. So the retiring mayor of Park City, who is named Nan Worrell, said, quote, "Unfortunately, a recent bill passed by the Utah legislature and comments made by some legislators have not been helpful in our bid to keep the festival here." And this was said 2 days before the festival officially announced its departure. So the bill Worrell is referring to is House Bill 77, in which it targets the LGBTQ plus flags and banners, which this now bans them from public spaces and from schools. So that passed recently. The Utah state government is a Republican GOP-led right now state government, and in Colorado is notoriously a liberal government. So on top of that, one of the bill's sponsors, Dan McKay, said in a response to a story's post from Deadline, I'm pretty sure this was on X, that Sundance peddles, quote, porn and, quote, does not belong in Utah anymore. And these were all things that those two quotes and the comments from Worrell were happening like days leading up to the festival announcing its departure. So
I don't know about you, but
say
I
what?
want to go to Sundance.
Yeah, you want to go to Sundance?
Dude, according to some of my sources, Sundance is pretty cool.
Yeah. Sundance. Can you imagine that, like the concession stand at the new and improved Sundance Film Festival in 2027?
Dude, they got to be charging way too much.
Brother. Get you a roach and come watch Nora. How about that? Like, I don't know.
To be fair, Nora is
kind of
borderline.
Yeah. The first 40 minutes are very close.
Pretty much it. That's
say
what
this.
I would categorize.
I'll say this because we've talked about politics personally, and I'm not going to oust you, Jake, for whatever you believe. I know I'm more middle of the road, but I do happen to lean left on certain instances, right? So like the way that I view politics is specifically I like to take each instance as an event that occurred and just find what I believe with, and then whichever side agrees with that more, I just happen to lay on, right? So really trying to find a non-biased perspective because there's so many different perspectives you can find, and it's not beneficial in my mind. And I don't say this to try to insinuate I'm better than anybody. I just don't think it's right to go into a situation and have a preconceived notion of, oh, that's terrible, that event, but my political party says it was a good thing. So despite my morals, I'm going to ignore it. I don't believe in that. I don't like that. So I go in trying to be completely non-biased on any situation as best as I can. And it just so happens that when I do that, I happen to lean left on a certain number of issues, right? So going into this, I truly believe that's just what I believe. And now I'm going to say why like my kind of take on this now that you know where my political and my ideologies kind of land with this kind of stuff. I think it comes down to just simply who's going to be the majority of your filmmakers. Like, where are they going to lie politically? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I think it comes down to it's always money. It's always money. Even the political stuff, it's always money. So Colorado's offering more money over a longer period of time, so there's more stability and deeper pockets to be made from moving to Colorado. But also, if the very group that you're trying to get to submit artwork, which is the main way they're earning money, is not submitting that artwork because they don't agree with the politics of the state that you're housed in, why would you stay?
Oh.
So I don't necessarily think that this is a stab in the back to Utah, although they probably feel that way. I think that the brass that run the Sundance Festival just believe that they would be making less money by staying in a place that doesn't agree with the very views of the people that are earning the money at the festival.
Right.
That's just my
I
that's
mean, it really is like, oh, we'd love you to stay. We've got all this money, uh, but we don't share the same values, and we don't like you, and we're gonna change a bunch of laws, and I mean, if I look at it surface level, it's like, why does a music festival care about flags? But it is deeper than that. Um, Uprooting an entire movie festival um, for the Bill 77, but it is probably straw on a camel's back. And many of other Utah uh, laws that have passed and grievances that both have against each other. So,
yeah.
I mean, do you want to stay in a home that doesn't, want you there, even if your rent's paid for?
Or yeah, or like
Uh,
doesn't respect who you are. Like at the end
yeah,
of the day, like you have to have some self-respect for the thing is, this is where I am most intrigued is that this dates back to a year. So Sundance had been like, so we are on the East Coast. The closest places that I know to where we are that Sundance looked at was Cincinnati and Louisville, Kentucky. Right? Like they those were two potential housing points for the now relocated Sundance. Boulder
which
was
I don't
one.
think Louisville was going to be ideal.
It wasn't gonna.
Cincy would be more open arms than Louisville would be.
Ohio and Kentucky in that Ohio Valley region, they're growing. And I mean, Atlanta is a big hub for cinema. And as
Yeah,
time goes on, I know that the state tax breaks in both Ohio and Kentucky are huge for film. So
yeah.
that would be
I, s-
why.
I still don't think that politically they'd run into the same problems in Kentucky
Yeah.
and probably even Ohio. Ohio
Ohio's a lot more red than you think.
leans, yeah,
Yeah.
Ohio's pretty red, but like that's why like sticking to Cincy would probably help a whole lot.
They would have
Hamilton
to go to
County,
Columbus or Cincinnati to make
yeah.
that work.
Um, but I think Boulder is probably if you think about all the different cities they could have gone that's not in California, it's like yeah, you probably chose one of the better ones. Now I am intrigued after 2 years. Where are they going to go?
Yeah.
What's next?
Well, they go to Boulder in 27 and they're there through 37 is from what I was reading. And it's like they have a
10.
10-year deal for 34 million with incentives
Got
and
it.
stuff to be
Sorry.
in Boulder,
Yeah.
but they're in Utah this year and next year.
Okay. Well, I mean, if I had to end it off, I would say, yay, they're closer, and my plane ticket doesn't cost that much.
Right, yeah.
Or maybe could drive to Colorado. Driving to Utah sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, even though it's beautiful, but like we shaved off a few hours if we ever want to go, Ryan.
Yeah, yeah, which we will. This is I also where I'm intrigued too is like I on the base level, you want to say that these politicians are mad because that is a huge tourist attraction.
Yeah.
Let's not skip over the fact that they're making their own now. Like they're going to birth a new film festival in the same
Mhm.
location, using the
Those
allocated funds.
Airbnbs are
Yeah,
rolling in their graves. Like those
yeah,
Airbnbs were worried.
yes. I mean that's a huge, huge revenue stream that's just gone after next year, right?
Yeah.
So I can understand that anger, but I wonder if there's another element to it. Is like how this seemed like a shock to them. I wonder how far along Sundance were in negotiations with them before they cut the cord. You know what I'm saying? Like, like for them to be this surprised, I don't feel like now, despite Deadline having reported on it for a long time now that they thought the Sundance Festival was leaving Utah, and despite what everyone else seems to think professionally, when you read any of these articles, they're like, "Oh yeah, this was happening." Utah seems shocked. And I just wonder how much that was fed into because the brass at Sundance were telling them that they were wanting to stay. What were they getting told for them to have allocated that much money and to be this shocked that it happened? You know what I mean?
Yeah, playing your cards close and making sure you can actually move to Boulder without stepping on toes is probably what they were shooting for. But deadline doesn't help. But at least
No.
it seems like the Utah government was uh, out of sight, out of mind, closed their ears, didn't care about what deadline or the rumors or articles are being written.
Now, it's not hard to believe that a politician or a state government is like, la, 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 they're going to keep them
It's
hands on ears. But
right.
also, it's like, I just can't believe that they would, with all that coming around, with Sundance fielding offers for new homes, that they would say, yeah, they'll stay anyway. Like, I feel like
It's
they were,
hard to be surprised.
Yeah,
anymore
yeah.
nowadays with the world.
It just feels
Um,
like it comes from a place when you read the reaction from Governor Cox, especially. It feels like it reads like it's coming from a reaction of like we had a deal. Like that's what it feels like. It feels like he's saying we had a deal, but just without saying that.
right.
I'd be interested to see what information comes out down the line about this. Anything else, Sir Claw, on our big news?
Yeah, they can come to Florence. They
Yeah.
come to uh Burlington.
Yeah, yeah.
Bring them to these small towns. Make these small towns sweat. Make them just like, hey, we're bringing a multi-million-dollar movie festival to your small town.
You got enough seats?
Gulp.
With that in
Uh,
mind, it's time to move on to our, as we've affectionately called it now, our quick ish hits segment. So, coming up after the break, we'll see you then. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to segment 3. So, as always, when we get to this portion of the show, I just want to say thank you because the fact that you're here over an hour after we started with tech difficulties, with us just kind of rambling about a whole lot of nothing and talking about somehow we got to Donald Trump and just rambling about literally
it's
everything.
not hard to do.
Yeah, I guess not, but I
Believe it
mean,
or not, we try really hard not to bring him up.
yeah, it just kind of happened because of the state of film in Utah, so we couldn't not talk about it. But thank
Right.
you so much for being here. Regardless, we like to have fun. We hope that you have as much fun as we do because we love hanging out. We love talking about this, and we love just you being here with us. So, thanks again. Leave a like, comment, do the 9, share, review, comment again, comment. Anyway, moving on. Usually I have, again, a whole lot of subtext with all these, but I really don't want a lot, and I want us to go through and just talk about them. And if we need to find more information, we'll find it as we go because we need our quickish hits to be quicker. And so, with that in mind, we'll go ahead and hop into segment 3, starting with Ketchup Entertainment officially saves Coyote versus Acme after a $50 million distribution acquisition from Warner Bros. The plan is for a worldwide 2026 release. So, Jake, how are we feeling about Wile E. Coyote versus Acme's going to be eventual release?
I'm glad they were able to keep it off the shelf. However, we just had like a Warner Brothers. We had a Daffy Duck and the pig.
Porky.
What's the Porky? Um,
Oh, the pig.
didn't do well, right?
It did fine. I mean, like,
Did
I,
fine.
I didn't think there was enough marketing for it.
Right. Probably not. I did see something. I saw a clip from it, and it's somebody who's never been animated before, and he was 2D the whole time until spoiler alert, and I don't know his name, but small spoiler alert, he dies, and he
Oh,
like turns around, and like it's the first time you see his face, I think, and he's like full animated. It was like the first time anybody's ever seen him animated, and it's his death scene.
that's actually comedy, though. That's really
So yeah,
funny.
and that was the whole point of the clip I saw. I was like, this is comedy. This is peak. First time bro is animated, like fully put half the budget into the animation of this guy. He dies.
No, I don't know. I can't say. I've seen a lot of people say that if you like animation, especially because we don't really get animated features anymore, that you should
Mhm.
go watch that film. Go watch. It was The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie. Um, I know it probably didn't do as well again in theaters because I didn't see it. Now I don't know if I'm the target audience or not, but it just didn't seem
Probably
like
not.
it hit my feed very often or any of the commercials very often when I do watch TV. So the thing about this that I have a lot more confidence in is that this is a film that the audience has been fighting for. So if you pour
Right.
half of what you spent to buy it, 25 million, I would probably want to do more than 25 million, but you do enough just to get into people's ears. People have wanted it so bad for so long now. I feel like they're going to go see it regardless if they see a commercial or not. They just have to know when. So that's why I
Right.
have a lot more confidence in this. And there's so many people involved um, who have just said that it's wonderful. And so I'm beyond excited for it. And I was talking to somebody about this earlier. I really hope that Warner Brothers has nothing to do with Like they're not gonna have anything to do with the distribution. I hope that it makes $1 billion and is nowhere near Warner Brothers' pocket because David Zaslav and Warner Brothers they're just like they are the evil villain of cinema right now. Like they're just so slimy. Like they're worse than Amazon right now. And we've talked in depth about Amazon and some of the things they've done. Like
I don't know. Can you be as bad as Amazon?
I don't care what it costs, get rid of her. Like that's what we're discussing.
No, we decided that that was a baller move.
It can be evil, but it can be both.
Hey, no, like they're blacked out Escalades, like evil villains can still be cool.
That's just so it's just so fun. Again, if you don't know what we're talking about, Barbara Broccoli told her closest friend, the rat in her family or her
The
friend,
rat, dude.
and said they're all effing idiots. They don't know what they're doing. And someone told Jeff Bezos, who now owns James Bond, which is Barbara Broccoli, who she was the creative producer for, and apparently he responded with, "I don't care what it costs. Get rid of her." And then she was out. And then they bought her out. It's just nuts, man.
Which honestly, you got the money, Jeff. And I mean it's probably some deep rooted like from his divorce or whatever, but
So
get her out of here.
sexism is what you're saying.
Yeah,
There's some
yeah,
sexism in there.
Not I'm not implying. I'm not implying. I'm not saying it. I'm
Jeff,
not
forgive
saying,
us. Jeff, I still want my
Jeff,
popcorn bucket. I
Jeff,
still want to
I'm
make my
just
popcorn
saying,
bucket. Jeff, please. Anyway,
I thought that that move was insane.
the thing
And
the thing about that
I
with
don't
Jeff Bezos is that you can laugh at it, right? It's like, oh,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
so evil. But that's like Austin Powers level of evil.
Yeah.
Zaslav is just an idiot. Like Zaslav is the guy who lost the NBA, and then after he sued and lost his suit to keep the NBA on TNT Sports, which is a Warner Brothers Discovery entity, he then turned around 6 months later and was like, "We let him go because we saw the writing on the wall," and tried to paint it as if he did something good, which he did not. He's an idiot. The same guy that canceled he's essentially killed Cartoon Network. And Cartoon Network, the shows are no longer on HBO. They're nowhere to be found. He's killed the kids' side of the network. And he canceled all of these films, including what was at one point Acme or Coyote versus Acme. So it's like this is just a guy that is just an evil villain. Like this is just who he is, and I cannot stand them. And so, with that in mind, I really hope that this film has nothing going back to Warner Brothers. Catch Up Entertainment makes all of them, and they make $1 billion. And this is the beginning of one of the biggest alternate, like not indie but animation type of distributor / production houses we've ever seen. Because that would be so fun. Also, I read somewhere, this is new on the script. Apparently, Warner Brothers is set to tear down the studio that housed the Looney Tunes for the last 60 years. They're going to tear it down to make room for more like set space for like HBO.
Okay.
Why do you do that?
Sure.
Why are you doing that? Anyway.
Beats me, man. Profit.
A headline I read somewhere that could be like unsubstantiated, but I read it and I was just like, typical. And then I moved on, so I didn't fact check it. But if you do see that, I told you. Anyway,
Right.
quick hits down the line. Jason Momoa is set to return as Duncan Idaho and Dennis Villeneuve's Dune 3. Jake, talk about this because you seem like this was something that piqued your interest a lot, and I really want you to talk about Momoa and his response to potential spoilers.
I thought he died. Am I wrong? Do you remember?
I'm not
Dune?
spoiling.
What do you mean? Oh, sorry. If you haven't seen Dune 1 and 2, go watch the
What are you
damn
doing?
movies.
Why are you not watching Dune 1
Why are
and
you
2?
not watching those, man? They're awesome. But like, I don't know. I was under the impression that that guy had died. So, but I look for because his character was cool, right? I mean, he was the bodyguard, I think,
Yeah.
or really close. He's not the bodyguard, but he was really close to Timothy, his character, and they were best buds. But he was a warrior, and Timothy was the prince and whatnot. But
Yeah.
because he's also a badass dude, like he kicked butt, right?
Yeah.
So
I thought he died too, which is why I was confused by that. But
yeah.
his quote about spoilers for Dune 3 cracked me up. And read his quote or just like give the synopsis of what he said because it was one of the funniest things I've heard.
Oh man, I lost it now. I didn't know I had to keep it.
No, I'm sorry. I can give the quick
Okay.
synopsis
thought
if you
you had-
need.
Did you write it?
No, I did not. Long
All right,
story
sorry,
short,
folks.
no, long story
Not
short,
prepared.
Jason Momoa said, "I cannot help that I'm spoiling a book you didn't read. Like, get over it." Because people were mad at him for saying, "Oh, why? How are you coming back? That's spoilers." And he's like, "Dog, you didn't read the book. What am I supposed to do?"
Yeah, how long the book been out, man?
So long. Frank,
Crazy.
what is the author's name? Oh crap, his first name's Frank. I can't remember his last name, but anyway, I just thought that was a funny quote. Moving on. Nathan Fillion is officially confirmed to return as Guy Gardner in Warner Bros. And James Gunn's upcoming series Lanterns. And the one thing Jake had to say about this was that Nathan Fillion looks dumb, and the one thing we've seen him as Guy Gardner in.
Well, I don't know if it's no offense to Nathan. I think they dressed him. I mean, to be fair, it looks, I guess, comic accurate. He's got the haircut, but like the suit just looks like the CW. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know.
His whatever he was wearing in that clip, and you just look up Guy Gardner, Nathan Fillion, you'll see his suit, and it's just like, man, they really just no budget to the costume department, huh?
Yeah.
But also, I mean, we are seeing the vintage superhero comic book accurate looking suits hit theaters more so. So maybe it's the right move. Not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to see the film and I want to see him in full glory before I give judgment because he does look very CW like, and just the one quick clip we see him walking. But I just feel like maybe well, one, that was like teaser, so maybe there will be some improvements to it that we haven't seen yet through the use of CGI, and then maybe it'll look cooler in action,
Right.
like outside of that scene. So I don't. I love James Gunn. I love Nathan Fillion. I think that's an exciting duo in anything that they do. So and I'm excited to see more Guy Gardner. I like this expanded Lanterns cast. I really the idea again that we've talked about before that James Gunn's using this like Star Wars and less like Marvel, where it's just stories everywhere, kind of across a specified story arc, but you like have things happening everywhere all the time. So you have this opportunity for more villains, more stories, and never ending developing, just kind of growing mold of or in mass of story. It's cool. And I'm excited for it. Moving down the list, this might be to some people's dismay. James Bond's creative producers have been announced. And should we be worried? One of them is Spider Man producer Amy Pascal, and the other is the upcoming HBO Harry Potter series producer David Heyman. Both replaced Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson, of which we were just kind of making fun of in just like 10 minutes ago. And they're going to be taking over the new look James Bond for MGM. I don't know if this is for all of them. I don't know if this is for like, because again, Pascal is like over top of all of like Spider Man. Like if Marvel makes a Spider Man, if Sony makes a Spider Man, she's like there. Um, Will she be that for James Bond? I don't know. She's also helping, from what I read, Amy Pascal is also helping with Greta Gerwig in her Narnia series for Netflix, or her films they will be released in theaters. So she's busy. So
Yeah. Maybe maybe we can pull a fast one on her. She won't be watching. We'll get a Spider-Man movie.
yeah, yeah. I
Look
feel
over there,
yeah.
Narnia.
It's just looking over, just immediately just drops a movie real quick.
Quick, quick, quick! Tom Holland, Toby
Yeah.
Maguire, come on!
Toby, Spider-Man 4, quick! It's just they just
Andrew Garfield, please.
she turns, it's just like like it just
Oh man,
you
there's
got
three
me.
movies right there.
Sam Raimi and Toby Maguire, you got me. She's just over there pointing like
Finger
a
wag.
finger wag. No, I think Amy Pascal has shown that she can make a good Spider-Man film, but she's also proven to make bad films. So
What's the ratio? Not good. Not good ratio.
not great. And so yeah,
Not great.
the goods. Let me put it this way: the goods are great, the bads are bad, and so it's just kind of
Yeah.
like. Where do we land on Amy Pascal being one of the heads of the creatives of one of the most legendary IPs in the entirety of media, less cinema? And their boss is a money hungry, just get content out. I'm sorry, I called him content out. Make me money. And then you got a hit or a miss in Amy Pascal. I don't know much about David Heyman, to be honest. I think it to be
We'll see.
seen.
Harry Potter series,
Yeah,
right?
TBD.
And honestly, now that and I've mentioned this before we had started recording, Ryan, is I'm out of stuff to watch.
Yeah.
I'm out of like to be fair, I had a lot of TV shows that I could rotate throughout the week. I'm probably gonna have to start finding movies I want to watch again, but I'm out of series, and so I'm somewhat looking forward to the Harry Potter series coming out. So I have something to watch.
Yeah.
Uh, do we know if it's binge watch or if it's coming out every week? Do you
It'll
know?
be, I know it's 8 hours and it's an hour an episode or a little,
Okay.
maybe closer to 50 minutes with the season finale being like longer or something like that.
Mhm.
Um,
But
I think it's going to be weekly. I don't think it's going to be bingey.
okay, that's all right. That's fine. I can do that.
Builds hype.
Right now, it's just Daredevil. That's all I
Again,
got.
everything's a circle. Time is a circle. We're back to TV. I like
Yeah,
it. I think it built a lot of hype for like,
yeah.
dude, every Friday and then the hour before say it comes out at 9, at 8, you have last week's episode so you can get caught up. I used to live for that. And so it's cool to
Well,
see it back.
it's better TV
Yeah.
because I don't have to wait or miss a showtime.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I still think it's evil and scummy that we watch ads after paying.
I
To
know.
be fair, it is a little cheaper, but is it cheaper when you add up all the streaming services you have to pay for?
No.
I mean, you look at Dish and DirecTV, they're still charging out the waz a month for these services. However, I mean, after Netflix, HBO, Paramount, Hulu, I'm missing several. If you want Crunchyroll, throw that in there. I don't know if I said Amazon, but that's like six, maybe
Oh,
$10 streaming service. So you're at 60 a month already.
yeah.
And
Hop
how many of
off.
those are you actually watching all of the things that they offer?
As I've proven before and as I've described before, I'm a sports fan. Hop out
That's
of
even worse.
media. The NFL, it's bad in the NFL, and it'll get worse when the NBA moves off of its current media rights deal. But as of right now, because the NFL is there now, if you want to watch every game or have the option to watch every game, you have to have some sort of streamer and like a regular normal streamer because that's how you get like your local game. So I'm a Bengals fan. For me to be able to watch the Bengals, I have to have like DirecTV, YouTube TV, or something like that. So I pay like close to $100 a month for YouTube TV, right? So you have all
That's
that.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah, it's insane. And the thing is, it's cheap. What I pay for YouTube TV is cheap compared to other distributors or to other streaming services.
Yeah.
If so, there's that. If you want to watch others, you have to have Netflix, Amazon, and there's a few, and like there's the Red Zone, NFL Red Zone, which is where you can watch every game, but it's like every scoring opportunity. That historically hasn't had ads. This past season, they have attempted to put in ads, but the fans threw such a fit that they took it out, and now
Dude, good.
they're talking about putting him back in. So it's like you have to spend close to over $1,000 a year to be able to watch the NFL. Like all of the NFL have the options to go through and watch the games.
That's insane.
I know, and it's worse with streaming, like with cinema and TV, because it's like, oh,
Yeah.
I want to watch the new A24 release. Oh, I have to have Max. Oh,
Yeah.
David Fincher just released a new film. Oh, I have to have Netflix. Trust me, I get what you're
Crazy,
saying,
dude.
man.
And I'll be excuse me, I'll be damned if I pay $5.99 for one movie.
I know.
No, no, not happening, dude. Not happening. I'd rather go watch it. I'd rather drop 20 to go watch it in theater.
Yeah,
But that's not here nor there.
because you
So
get the
I look
experience
forward
at
to Harry
least.
Potter.
You know, you get the experience. That's the
Yeah,
thing is that like in theaters, we talked about this at length. And the theaters, you get to go with your friends. You get to eat the popcorn. There's nothing that is like watching with strangers and friends. Just a large event. Like I know we've hated on Marvel for how as long as this podcast has existed, but I will never forget being in theaters for Endgame when Cap picked up Mjolnir. Sorry, spoilers. When he did that, I was sitting.
go watch it.
We were we were so packed in the theaters and we got our seats late. I was a senior in high school. We sat in we had to lay back and like break our necks to see the screen. And if things happened on that side, we had to look all the way over. Like we were in the very front row. But the best part about that, it was a blessing. And this is just credence to what you're saying about I'd pay $30 to go to the theater and get like food and just enjoy my time if it were that big of a movie, right? I was sitting back. I was leaning all the way back and I had my head cocked back because that's the only way I could see most of the screen. And when Cap picked up Mjolnir, that slow motion, real dramatic camera work, just about to kill Thor, hammer hits, Thanos turns. I looked like I could see the top, like the roof of the theater we were in here in where the city I am now. I almost gave away where I live. Uh, as that happened, I heard the screaming from the crowd and popcorn was flying in the air. Like I was
Yeah.
watching this happen, and it was just like an experience I've never seen before. Like I am so thankful that that was the opening Friday. It came out on a Thursday. I was in theaters the next day in essentially the front row. I guess what you would call the nosebleeds. Not, and I know
Yeah.
that I use that as like a form of like, oh, the seats suck, but you get to see it. That's where we were. I'm so thankful I got that experience because if I were in the middle, one, I would have been wearing soda and popcorn, which I wouldn't have preferred. But two, being at the bottom, I could see it all unfold. And it was just so cool. And you can't get that anywhere else. I would pay so much money to have that happen again. Um,
Well, get ready for Doomsday. It doesn't think it's gonna happen. Oh, but it's gonna happen.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
Bro, the dudes from the Sonic commercial are returning. The OG2 in the car are returning. Yeah.
Popcorn.
Yeah. Flow from Progressive is walking through the portal. No way. It's just,
No way.
we've gone beyond the coolness of that. Anyway, final two, and then we'll finally end this show. Sorry for those who are trying to listen on a deadline. If you're trying to, like, you're like, I want to go into work now. You must wait 5 more minutes.
Nope. Tell your boss.
Yeah. I was listening to be on the screen and they wouldn't end the show. New Scooby-Doo origin series in the works at Netflix. It's going to be a live action. It's a murder mystery at a campsite. For some reason, Shaggy and Daphne are best friends, and they were friends before the gang began. And they meet the mysterious Fred, and they learn, and they meet each other in Scooby. And it just seems really interesting to me. I don't know why.
Something that I thought was always funny with like the series, the animated series, was that Fred liking traps was somewhat hinted like to him liking men dressed as women, but like it was never like it was a metaphor, right? Like he had a magazine about traps and somebody had found it and he like jumps over the couch to grab it out of their
Yeah.
hand. It was always like that subtle metaphor that Fred was into something else other than
Yeah.
like traps. Yeah.
I don't like that they call him mysterious because Fred is like,
Yeah.
let me put it, Fred is an airhead. I'm so sorry. Fred is like, he is smart and he's like the leader, I guess, but he's also like, why didn't that work? And it's just like the dumbest trap you've ever seen in your life. Like that's like the joke, right? The traps never really
Yeah.
work
No, the
until
traps never work, and Scooby and Shaggy somehow end up
in the
always
trap.
catching.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's like the traps don't work very well, and then Shaggy and Scooby end up in it, and then somehow the talking dog with his head shaped as like a giant sandwich somehow stops the guy. Like that's like
Yeah.
what happens. So it's like I don't know. I don't like they call him mysterious, the mysterious Fred. What's his last name? I can't remember.
So, are we getting Matthew Lillard? Lillard?
No, I did see
Aw.
somewhere that I think it was. Oh,
Aw.
I think that this was like completely falsified, but I did read somewhere like on Instagram in the depth of hell that is the internet scape, that Matthew Lillard tried to pitch like a Scooby Doo 3 with a live action cast, but it's like an R rated like their
Cool.
actual that's what I said. I was like so it's like. I think that'd be really neat. Just they're all grown up. You know, this is what real life looks like. You know, just like it's just super raunchy, super funny, like adult humor. And I
Yeah.
was like, I would be way into that. And so I would much rather have that than this. But this is still interesting to me just because it seems different.
Right.
And lastly,
Alright.
rounding out today's episode, Warner Brothers, Sony, and Paramount are monetizing the fake AI YouTube trailers. Every one of those you've seen that has in fact got us on this very show. We watch.
Let's
You're
make
like,
money off of this.
yeah, you're like, let's look up a trailer that I heard came out, and it's just an AI slop with some barely recognizable faces, and it's like you're like and you click off that. So people were making a lot of money off that. Not only did big production companies say we're monetizing that because that's our IP, those that were not being monetized then got demonetized by YouTube. So they got hit in a week with a double whammy. Big production houses are like, actually, that's my money. And the YouTube said, you can't make money off of this, even if you were making money off of it. So you either pay the major bosses of the houses that we sort of hate but love, or you just don't make money at all. And one of the funniest quotes I had seen, it's AI generated slop. One of the people who was running one of these AI channels was like, I put all my heart and soul into this. And it's like, bro, no, you didn't. Like,
No, you did not.
stop lying. You're just mad because you don't have your money. That's like what it is. But it was funny. He's like, I put everything I had into this channel. It's like, no,
All right, bud.
Shut up.
Yeah, put everything you had into 3 sentences of
Yeah.
a prompt.
Chris Evans fighting Robert Pattinson. Captain America, Batman. Click. And that's it.
Oh, man. Yep. I mean, Diddy, Baby Oil, Chris Evans,
Whoa.
the Falcon.
No. Where'd we go? I hope that you're watching this like on YouTube because I was real nervous where that was gonna go for a minute.
I'm just spitballing.
I know you were.
No, because I'm going off of something that somebody actually did with the new ChatGPT and the new model and AI image generation. Is like one of the tests that he did. One of the first tests he did on this TikTok was Diddy standing on 1,000 bottles of baby oil, and what it generated, it wasn't even. It was pretty good, but it was also pretty bad because it was literally just Diddy cut out over 1,000 bottles of baby
Oh my
oil. So it
god.
generated 1,000 bottle of really like really realistic baby oil, Johnson baby oil, and then it's a cutout of him like with his
Oh
hands
my
like,
god.
and so it was like, dang, that's really good, but also I could do that in a few minutes myself.
Yeah.
Copy paste baby oil and then cut out a picture of Diddy. Um, Something else that he did was oh man, I forget it now. Oh, he put LeBron James into a Dodgers hat, or what made him wear Dodgers merch, and it was like crazy realistic.
Yeah.
Um, we were using it at work trying to come up with some stuff, but just screwing around with it just to see how good could it possibly be right now and how good can it get later. One of our videographers brought a video to us. It was like a motion graphics where it was like the words, some two words, but being revealed by like super bright paint,
Yeah.
and it was like 3D. It was After Effects galore. It was perfect. Now I think that was done by like Runaway. There's an AI video generator called Runaway.
Yeah.
That looked awesome. And so it's right at that point where you can kind of get away with still charging a buttload of money, but as as soon as it gets out that you can do all of that with AI, um, people are going to be like, I'm not paying you that
Yeah. Once it gets
to
really
generate
effective
this.
regularly,
Yeah,
yeah. Thing is,
yeah.
too, another question that like just before we end the show, did you see where the CEO of ChatGPT going back to the Ghibli art?
I did not see the the response. No,
He was like, "Please stop prompting our servers. Our servers need a break. Our artists need a break. Stop." He was like
Jesus.
begging people to stop like prompting ChatGPT to make the Ghibli art.
Yeah,
Like, man,
it takes a lot to to prompt an AI CEO to,
apparently, dude,
dude.
destroying their servers. Apparently,
Yeah, yeah. Which, to be fair, is thousands, millions of dollars of those servers, but like that's a lot because they've got to be prepared for like a level of stress. And if he's out there begging them to quit, there's a certain threshold. I mean, this is max, but to have him say something, I mean, they're getting close, right?
how?
So
Yeah, how full? Because the thing is, too, is that this isn't like chat when it just started and it's like infancy. This is chat after a long time of development.
yeah. So keep this in mind, everybody. If you want to take down the big guy, let's just keep generating stuff.
Yeah. Where's the threshold? How many images do we have to generate at once for all of us? If all of us in the
Do an
world
attack.
just hit enter at the same time, what's the
Yeah.
threshold?
Yeah. Can we set fire to these server farms?
It's like someone's like someone dies after eating 17 bananas, so the threshold is 16. That's the max. You can have 16
This is
bananas. I
this is our Arasaka Tower from Cyberpunk.
yes,
we This is our Cyberpunk.
I want to know what the max is. I want to know.
This is like everybody flushing their toilet at the same time to see what happens.
The can the sewer system, can our water maintenance crews, can they handle it?
It happens every year. I see it resurge every year. It's like, all right, on this date, we're all flushing our toilets. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me what day that is for scientific purposes. Not for
I
me.
thought it was in like April or May, but It's coming
Oh,
up.
it's coming up. Okay, I thought I missed it for a second. I was getting sad. Okay, it's good to know. Well, I'm not excited for me. I'm excited for someone else that I'm going to talk about this to tell them to do it. But I wouldn't do it anyway. I'm gonna look
Yeah.
up when they flush toilets. Just
Okay.
anyway,
All
that's
right.
the end of our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for spending 90 minutes with us. That was kind of again, that's always crazy that you take the time to listen to us this far in, and thank you so much again. And Jake, any final words to leave our beautiful people?
I don't have many other than I'm trying to think about different ways to use AI. Maybe I can use AI to flush the toilet.
Yo, chat, flush my toilet.
Yo, flush my toilet. Hey Siri, flush my toilet.
And did you just get a response?
um, I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Oh, I heard that one.
Oh, you heard that? All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, I did. Anyway, all
So
right. That's the end of our show. We'll fill you in next week on whether or not
our
this
toilets
our
flushed.
toilets flushed, if the local sewer system survived, and if Jake was able to figure out if he could get Siri to flush his toilet. See you guys later.
See you. Bye.